and it's making you lonely, you can always go downtown. When you've got worries, all the noise and the hurry seem to help, I know. Downtown, just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Linger on the sidewalk where the neon signs are pretty. How can you lose? The lights are much brighter there.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. First video of 2026. Hope you all had a good new year. Wish I could say the same for me. If you got my last live stream on the 31st, I mentioned on there how I was getting kind of a itchy, scratchy feeling in my back of my throat, and wouldn't you know, had some symptoms come right around the bend the next day. So yeah, had a pretty miserable weekend too. But today's the best day so far, coming out of the whole sickness. It seems like everybody I know, like from the workplace, family relatives, some friends here in town, it's just a whole sick wave moving through. So I might sound a little nasally, but I'm coming out of it pretty well today. Had enough energy to make the video at least. I'm just sick of 2020s. The decade just sucks. Maybe that's what's getting me down. I don't know. But I'm here today to talk about some titles, stuff that goes back, I think one of these goes back to like November. I'm trying to play catch up a little bit, but I took a couple weeks off, you may have noticed. That might be the new normal on the channel. We'll just have to see how quickly I'm purchasing records and stuff, because I've kind of slowed down since last year for the most part, as far as like some of the big ticket records I'm after. But we'll see if that changes, you know. I'll try to be, you know, fairly consistent along the way. So I got a couple records here, 2 Neo-Psych garage albums, fairly new. And then we're going to talk about one artist and then his previous band, kind of go into a little spotlight talking about him. And then we got a Beatles 45. So we'll talk about that at the very end. And then right off the bat, I did want to mention this, even if this person wanted to be confidential or quiet about it. I'm not going to mention too much of the details, but I wanted to mention give a thank you, express my humblest of gratitude for just hopefully making an impact on the channel. That's kind of the whole main goal, is to just, you know, inspire other listeners and kind of show different artists that aren't the typical on, you know, within the vinyl community, but also just out there on the internet. And that's just been my whole goal. And so I received a letter just right after Christmas time, you know, New Year's. I'm not going to show it, but it's a whole, you know, paragraph or so. I'll just kind of hint at it there. By an anonymous viewer, expressed really well how he really enjoyed my new record. And yeah, it's just really touching letter. And to my surprise, he gifted me Amazon gift card for a large amount. I'm not going to say how much, but wow. You know, I don't receive a whole lot of gifts these days, you know, being in the adult world and having not a whole lot of family in my family tree anymore. You know, with my mom gone and all, it just really struck a chord with me that day, and I just kind of froze reading that letter, and just really glad to see that the channel has a purpose, and I must be doing something right. If one person, if I can just, you know, have just a circle of people watching the channel, I'm happy. You know, you never see me begging for subscribers or having a Patreon account, asking for donations. You know, that is not me at all. So I really did appreciate the gift. And even though I have to be real with you too, I'm not an Amazon fan. I'm actually anti-Amazon. However, I will use it to good use. It's the thought that counts. And it's just a big revelation to me that I must be doing something really well on the channel. And you know, not just from these gifts, but receiving records too, and just receiving the few friendships that I've had, you know, some of the more closer, intimate friendships I've made here through the channel. And having doing this for so long, a lot of friends have kind of weaved in and out, but that's life, I guess. you know, from job to job, and people just going through different phases in life, and just wanted to say thank you. So didn't want to drag on that for too long. Didn't know how that was all going to come out, but here to talk about some music, and this might be a little lengthy because I'm really excited about some of these new records coming out. We're going to talk about 2 of them here, and if you caught my last few live streams, I've been talking about these artists. We're going to start off with this one. So I think this just came out back in December. Was it December or November, October, somewhere? I think it was right after Astro Yacht. This might be the best record of last year, let's be honest. So this is Balloon, Balloon, Balloon by an artist who goes under the name Sharp Pins. It was actually Case Slater, I should say, from the Chicago DIY scene. Must be some new emerging scene happening around there. And he's a 20-year-old kid and seems to have been part of a lot of different projects since he's started his whole music career. Came with a little sticker here. Thank you for your order. And then I'll just read the hype sticker here just so you can get an idea, and then I'll kind of give my take on it. Sharp pins tingle and jingle and springle. Acupuncture for the soul. Threading a much-needed shot of 1965 into the tired hide of today by Robin Hitchcock. It's a little blurb there. So Balloon times 3. So just by looking at the cover, you can definitely tell this is very, you know, 60s era psych-inspired kind of cover art. A little UK inspired, I would say, mod freak beat. So if I had to tag some different genres on here to kind of give you a little picture of what he's going for here, you know, he started transitioning into more psych pop with this record. Started out a little more in the slacker rock, kind of noisy garage rock kind of sounds, and then kind of emerged into the whole jangly, very lo-fi, almost guided by voices kind of style. And this one gets heavily hampered with those kind of ingredients, you know, very guided by voices. Some people have been kind of critical about that. You know, I've heard a little bit of GBV, but I think he's doing his own thing here to my ears. 21 different tracks. There's like 3 interlude, you know, 30-second interlude pieces with Balloon 1, 2, and 3. And this is mostly a Kai Slater written project, and he just got some backup people helping him out here while he's touring as well. So for just a pop culture reference, the kid from Stranger Things, Finn Wolfhard, he released his solo record this year, and Kai produced it. And I guess they went on tour for a time, or I think Finn played with Sharp Pins for a moment too. So there's a little bit of a connection there. You can tell by just the track listing, there's a lot of just short little ditties here. Very much influenced by that UK flavored beat scene coming into the picture, very mod, freak beat. A little bit of that innocence coming from like a Syd Barrett kind of fantasy, you know, in some of the songwriting. Very imaginative, very hooky too. There's a lot of very hooky tracks. The first track on here has been an earworm for quite a while now. Papa Fang Out. It's all one word. That's the track that led me into Sharp Pin's world. Found the music video on YouTube. Somehow YouTube's just been recommending a lot of really cool Neo-Psych projects my way, and this is just really excellent. Kind of noisy, and like I said, kind of lo-fi. It was all recorded on a Tascam tape machine. So there are some tracks that are a little more polished than others. The lyric sheet. You can definitely tell it's very DIY. And yeah, some of the live footage too is very cool. You can definitely tell these guys are doing a really genuine throwback, very well established. And I think this is just gonna make me want to listen to more stuff on, Bandcamp and discovering more music like this. It's not your typical coming out from this year. Maybe a little bit like the Lemon Twigs, but I'm not too big on them from what I've heard. They seem to be very pastiche. But this one to me seems very neutral and kind of coming from a raw space, very raw indie space. And yeah, there's some really cool trippy tape effects throughout this one. So this is one I'm still just kind of soaking up right now. Balloon x3 by Sharp Pins. I got this one on Bandcamp, by the way. If you like to have your Neo-Psych a little more on the fuzzier side, this one might be for you. This one's a little more rockin' than the last one. This is Purgatory by the Mystery Lights. This is their latest LP from 2024. As far as I know, they don't have any upcoming albums. Pretty cool gatefold artwork here. Lots to look at. It's a group that was originally from Salinas, California, and then they later migrated out to Brooklyn, New York. And I think they've been kind of touring out there ever since. Had a pretty successful album, 2 albums before this, I think it was. But this one really caught my attention. Again, another YouTube recommendation. I just clicked on one of the songs, I think from their previous record, and I was like, okay, I'm digging this. What else they got? And I just started streaming this one, and nearly every track works for me on this just as well. It's a little more, like I said, on the scuzzy, fuzzy side, working with a little bit of feedback. But they're also coming from a writing style that reminds me of songs you'd hear on the Nuggets compilation. Sort of that garage rock, West Coast kind of flavor. Sometimes they hint towards bands like Jefferson Airplane and The Seeds, especially in the vocals. Vocalist definitely has like a Marty Balin, Sky Saxon kind of approach. But with like a folk rock style, there's a lot of 12-string on here. One of the songs kind of reminded me of like early B-52s with In the Streets. It's got this really kind of upbeat, really fast-paced Farfisa organ. And it's just got some cool, like kind of punky attitude to it as well. And I think these guys did start out sort of more in a garage punk kind of style. But yeah. Some other favorite tracks, Mighty Fine and All Mine has this kind of boogie shuffle to it. Cerebral Crack's a big standout for me. Can't Sleep Through the Silence. I think the thing about this band, though, that really, tipped me over to purchase this was their KEXP performance, which is about like half hour long. Just the musical cues, the rhythm section, the bass and drums really got some really locked in, rehearsed grooves. And I was just really impressed by just how locked in, and they just knew all the little nuances and all the different cues to make. It was just really like fascinating. I just wish, I could make sounds like that with my band if I had a whole 5-piece band to work with. Not really too big on the album art. I mean, an exploding light bulb's kind of cool, but it kind of comes off kind of bleak to me. But that was their choice. But yeah, I picked this up also through Bandcamp. Not much else to say, except, yeah, check out the Mystery Lights. This is on the Wick label. This came out in 2024, a little over a year ago now, and back in December. And this is just a really, really cool piece for modern neo garage psych. Candlewick. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a artist spotlight here in this section. We're going to be talking about Mr. Emitt Rhodes, The American Dream. I actually thrifted that one back in, I think, late 24 in Crete, Nebraska. Apparently they have a lot of fans down there. That one has a lot of heavy spindle marks. It still plays, but somebody was a fan of Mr. Rhodes. And we're going to be talking about his solo record, and then I'm going to share the Merry-Go-Round record that I just picked up. It just came in the mail today. Some people say that, The American Dream is like his first solo record, but I always considered this to be his first legitimate because this is all him playing all instruments. Whereas compared to that, that's, you know, shelved merry-go-round stuff that was for their planned second record that never came about. And I've just never really considered that. I don't know. I feel like that was released first with the original cover on A&M. And then this came about kind of around the same time. But ABC Dunhill, and the conditions, before I get into it, looks like the cover is a little faded and might have some moisture issues. But the disc is like near mint shape. I found this at a antique mall not too long ago, under 10 bucks finally. Usually it's like around 10 bucks or 20 bucks, but the conditions and price never match with this one every time I've spotted it. I won't go too deep into the back lore about this, but if you don't know about Emitt Rhodes, you definitely should check him out. Got a not really a fascinating backstory, but it's certainly one to learn from. Just a lot like the Bobby Jameson story, where had a lot of label contractual issues, didn't receive all of his royalties, got locked into some really strict rules, and Jay Laster was behind Dunhill at the time, and not a very good dude. You don't want to get on his bad side. He was a very tough, curmudgeon old man. And always loved that photo shot of him in his little garage studio. So yeah, Emitt Rhodes, multi-instrumentalist. He was like 20 years old when he put out his first solo record after the Merry-Go-Round LP. And just what a young talent. So obviously he gets compared to Paul McCartney quite a bit, as you may have heard. But I feel like that always kind of obscures or kind of overcasts his real talent, because Emitt definitely has a lot of Beatles influence and just happens to have like the same timbre and same kind of writing structure as McCartney does. And there's one track, She's Such a Beauty, definitely sounds like Martha My Dear with some of the piano work going on. And I'm not even really a big McCartney guy, but this album alone might be better than McCartney's whole discography. Yes, I said it. This is quite a masterwork for sure. You know, very much in the pop rock world. You know, kind of predates a little power pop here and there with Fresh as a Daisy, which did hit the Billboard charts for a short time. He did release a lot of singles, not only under his name, but Merry-Go-Round. It's the second track, Somebody Made for Me. It's got those kind of descending chords. It's a little kind of a fizzy production style to it. And of course, Fresh as a Daisy is another big highlight of mine. But I also really love the last track on here, You Must Have. It's a very optimistic kind of a wavy, sort of kind of ethereal, wet sounding ballad. Very optimistic in the lyrics, and yeah, very relatable. I can really relate to some of the, not just that song, but the rest of the works here. And this was also sort of like post-engineered, kind of curving the different frequencies to make it sound a little better by Keith Olsen and Kurt Betcher, who, well, Keith Olsen mentioned that in the documentary about Emitt here, that he could not record for shit, so they kind of had to step in and polish up the quality a little bit. So yeah, I'm sure, you know, a lot of you might be familiar with this one, but if not, Emitt Rhodes definitely has some interesting LPs. And then by the mid 70s, I think he released two more after this, The Mirror, and then that other one with the sunset photo. I think he just called it quits because he just wasn't receiving the earnings and kind of fell out of it for many decades. There's some interviews online. You can kind of hear he's very bitter about it. You know, he's kind of happy he's been rediscovered, but at the same time, wishes that he would, you know, kind of made a little bit more of a landmark. But at least he got his foot in the door with the Merry-Go-Round, which we'll talk about next. And we'll talk about how I received this record too afterwards, because I'm happy about it. The Merry-Go-Round with You're a Very Lovely Woman and Live. I never see this record in Nebraska. I finally have this. This is a beautiful copy here. And of all places, I found this on eBay, which I have not scored records on there in years. As far as like me pinpointing, trying to find what I want on there, could just never get any good deals anymore since like the 2020s have arrived. Like I said, I'm sick of them. It's got a BB hole here though, corner. Other than that, disc is fabulous. I haven't spun it yet, but looks really good for its age. You usually see these pretty beat up, and I got this for 10 bucks, if you can believe that, plus shipping. Like I said, prices, conditions always vary. You still see this one kind of lingering around 20 bucks, but never in the best shape. And just to see the outcome turn out like this for 10 bucks, that's probably what it used to be like 15 years ago. So let's get started. The Merry-Go-Round, You're a Very Lovely Woman with Liv. Those were two of their biggest chart-topping singles, especially around the California area. But I do remember finding the Merry-Go-Round singles in thrift stores when I was a young lad. And they also had some TV performances. There was one where Don Knotts was hosting it. I forget what show that was, if it was Shebang or... Then they had one on Dick Clark, American Bandstand. So they got around quite a bit for like a year. Came out in 1967. Always kind of thought it was kind of strange that they chose this for the front image. It's so out of focus. Why didn't they focus in on them a little better? It's a little out of focus there. There's some tracks on here that should be classic rock staples. Not only are there big tracks here, but Time Will Show the Wiser, which was later covered soon by Fairport Convention, among a few other bands, I think. And then I know the Bangles covered Live in the 80s. But one of my favorite staple tracks, Had to Run Around. It's got some really great kind of, I don't know, melancholy kind of flavor. Very jangly guitars, even though I don't think they're using 12-string on here. They got this very kind of folky sound. It's almost like they took the UK styles of, say, the Beatles, the Kinks, and sort of merged that with the whole LA folk rock scene. And it's just like a perfect amalgamation of those two working together. But my other two favorite tracks, Low Down and Gonna Leave You Alone on side 2, are Gary Cato produced tracks. They're a little more in the garage flavor. Got a little more of a rocking kind of vibe to it. Yeah, Where Have You Been All My Life? On Your Way Out. Really great harmonies, great pitch. Everything is just really finely tuned. And just a lot of love for this record. And I'm just really glad to finally track it down. And it sounds like they played with everybody from, say Buffalo Springfield to, I'm pretty sure the Doors, Jefferson Airplane. They pretty much played with all the big names since they were kind of hot on the scene for a while. And yeah, Emitt Rhodes, 18, writing all these songs. Pretty versatile writer for his time. Just a pop-making machine. You could just pop those out. And I'll just go ahead and share how they shipped this one to me. So, typical record mailer here, right? Everything looks pretty good so far. But I'm not seeing any cardboard to fill it up, to give it some support. So we ended up with some lone piece of bubble wrap with tape on it. I'm done. I'm just done buying off eBay. What kind of shit is that? I'll give him a break. He's from Idaho. Yeah, he's from Idaho. We're going to end it off with something a little bit which may have inspired Emitt Rhodes in a lot of ways. This is probably my all-time favorite. This is my peak Beatles moment for me. I also picked this up from eBay. It's the last time I'm purchasing on there. It's also from a US seller. And I kind of been looking for this single off and on throughout last year. I wasn't sure if I was going to get the US capital or, country of origin. And today we're talking about, well, got it flipped around here, Paperback Writer by the Beatles on the original Parlophone label. B-side Rain. To me, this is probably hands down my favorite Beatles single. Just a perfect two-sided non-LP singles from the Fab Four. And, I mean, who can deny that opening crunching riff of Paperback Writer mixed with the, occasional vocal delays, the harmonies, the punchiness. And then I think Ringo's even cited to saying that Rain is some of his best drum chops. It's not a bad argument. I quite enjoy them. This came out in like April of 60, well, it was recorded in April of 66, so pretty early for, before psychedelia even bloomed, this thing came out. And, just days prior, they recorded Tomorrow Never Knows. So this is like a peak Beatles for me. And I just had to have it. It was too good of a price. And yeah, that's the only Beatles talk you'll get here for a while. So if you're tired of listening to Mazzy talk about them in every video, check out the merry-go-round and Emitt Rhodes. That'll be your next rabbit hole to dive down. Also, I did mention how I was going to do a montage or a slideshow type style video of showing all the records I picked up in the last couple years. I might wait on that. I kind of forgot about it, to be honest, and I might just do that maybe at the tail end of next year. I feel like it might be even a shorter video than the last one, which was 12 minutes long. So I'd like to extend it a little bit to make it a pretty beefy sized video sharing all these different LPs I'm picking up, but we'll see if it happens or not. Still not sure. And then I am receiving some VCLT. I might shoot that here this week as well. And yeah, so we got a lot of stuff to move along. I still got some online stuff to share. And of course, gonna continue with the live streams as long as I can. You guys still feel healthy enough to do it. Yeah, and this year too, I mean, so far I've had a lot of different symptoms coming back, actually. Like I've had migraines coming back to me at work, and I used to have like pretty severe migraines maybe 6 years ago. I was taking pills for it, and then I found out, hey, I could just go to the chiropractor and get acupuncture, and that really cured it for up until this point. So I'm gonna have to go back and see what that's all about. It's just rough beginning for me, but I'm trying to pull through. And the tonsil stones, as you know, everybody wants to hear that story again. But yeah, hope you all are kicking off well and dive into some of these titles. I definitely recommend the new ones. Like I said, the Mystery Lights and Sharp Pins. And till next time, see you soon.
Frank Sienkiewicz, the 1942 Heisman Trophy winner from Georgia, died early today at his Athens home. He was 70 degrees. Sienkiewicz was the first Georgia Bulldog ever to win that coveted trophy. And a correction, Frank Sienkiewicz, who died early today at his home in Athens, was 70 degrees. Jim?